Is Sony really going to give us PSVR and Ragnarok on PC? How about the last two Final Fantasy games? Why aren't more games integrating Twitch like Frostpunk 2? What's going on with Star Wars Acolytes? And what does Josh think of his first 20 levels in World of Warcraft?
Hi, I'm Nick, and I haven't been this surprised by a pre-show podcast since 1998 when Undertaker threw mankind off Hell in a Cell.
Hi, I'm Josh, and have you ever thought about why Fanta Soda exists?
Hey, I'm Andy, and this is Video Game Tango. Hey, everybody!
Oh, greetings. Hello.
Welcome back.
Been holding my breath since last Wednesday.
Good.
Lightheaded.
And we got started a little bit late tonight, so
Yeah, I might have died a few times.
yeah. I'm sorry for making you wait the extra hour.
So, what we got in the world of video games?
Well, got a little bit of industry-ish news.
This
so
industry.
we've been talking about
in or around it.
it's at least adjacent.
Okay.
We've talked quite a bit about Sony and Square Enix in recent history, and I just have a little bit of follow-up plus. So
They've been cutting the brake lines recently.
we've talked a lot about Sony exclusivity, especially with the Square Enix stuff going on. And Sony, in a weird turn of events, seems to be throwing stuff at the PC suddenly. So it looks like PSVR, which had been rumored to previously, is going to be coming to PC.
Ooh.
Okay.
So this was just rumored previously, and then Sony had kind of let some press releases say that we're kind of toying with the idea of bringing this to PC. But it looks like it really is happening. So Sony has certified in South Korea a PSVR 2 PC adapter with the model name CFI-ZVP1. But it looks like it's a real device. It's being certified in the states that they release the technology to, and it looks like you're going to be able to adapt directly from PSVR 2 to PC.
That's
Now,
cool as hell.
I assume that it's going to come with a software package, and I don't know what the limitations are going to be. Is it going to be like Sony previously exclusive titles, or are they going to allow you to use this as like a blanket VR headset?
You have to make a PlayStation Network account.
You probably do.
Went over well earlier.
That said, it is another option, which is good because the PSVR 2, as far as the tech goes, solid VR machine. Adding that to the PC and bringing like a sub $500 headset to the market with controllers and everything that's required.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's great news. On top of their plans to bring PSVR to PC, it looks like we are going to be getting God of War Ragnarok
Sweet Loki's penis.
on PC as well, and soon. So it's not announced how soon, but leaks from internal documents looks like it's going to be like this year, probably within the summer time frame. So in the next
sex
like
with a horse.
2-3 months, we may be seeing God of War Ragnarok coming to Steam.
Oh
Josh
my
has
God,
been
that is
waiting so long.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make me more excited, I think, would be Spider-Man 2. But
Yeah.
I mean, that honestly,
Leia
I didn't
showing
have
up
to
at your
wait as long for God of War Ragnarok as for the last God of War to come out. So it's yay.
Yeah, it's
Yay.
Yeah. On top of that, we've talked a lot about Square Enix titles and them bringing them to PC more aggressively, or hitting an aggressive multi-platform strategy is what they said. Which got me thinking, if we're seeing this like loosening of PlayStation exclusivity, it made me start wondering, as far as Square Enix, their most recent hit titles have been Final Fantasy 16, which had 6-month exclusivity, came out in June of last year, 2023. So we're almost coming up on a year since it released. Now the creators did say that it was going to Sony only had 6 months exclusivity, but they were going to be working on the game for PS5 until there was enough content for them to justify a PC release. Now with their change in strategy, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing an earlier release of Final Fantasy 16. Not only that, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it looks like, was also only limited to a 3-month exclusivity deal with Sony. And I'm wondering if this aggressive multi-platform strategy is going to mean that we're also getting Rebirth on other consoles or PC a lot sooner than most of us thought. So a lot of that is still like in the works. Nothing is known about it. A lot of this stuff is leaks and rumors, but like it's fairly well documented that God of War is definitely coming soon. In all likelihood this summer. So we have that to look forward to. Now, it's interesting that all of this is happening right before State of Play. So as we're recording
Tomorrow.
yeah,
tomorrow.
As of right now, it's tomorrow.
Tuesday the 30th.
That's right. So it's very possible that we'll see possibly some of these announcements. I wouldn't doubt them announcing PSVR 2 coming to PC. I wouldn't doubt the God of War Ragnarok announcement also for PC. I doubt they'll bring up anything from Square Enix because those aren't their titles. They just have exclusivity, timed exclusivity on them. But it does sound like they are getting a little bit more PC centric and understanding that, you know, while they can still prioritize the PS5, that it's probably a really good idea to put them on at least PC, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been a good idea for Sony to stop doing this monopoly bullshit for years. I think they're finally starting to realize now that they've started branching out into multi-platform and stuff that, hey, there's an entire audience out there willing to give you money.
Yeah.
You just have to not rely on them buying a PS5
Right.
or a PS4, both of which were really hard to buy for a long time.
Yeah, that's very true. And I also think that, you know, it's, yes, they want to sell hardware. That they do make good money on hardware. They are one of the few companies that still makes money on their hardware and not just their publishing rights, etc. So, it's understandable that they want their hardware to be kind of the premier place to play it, but I think it's a good idea to make it available on more platforms, right? We've seen success in that.
Going the way of the dodo. In the next 20, 30 years, hardware is going to become dirt cheap as we just more and more perfect this stuff, and it's going to be what you play on the hardware that's going to bring in the money.
Totally.
Right.
I could also see Square Enix pushing Rebirth for a PC release sooner rather than later to really juice those sales numbers.
Yeah.
Because if they can somehow get a release on the PC before the year is out, that would really, really make those numbers look a lot better.
No, definitely. It bolsters their sales for sure.
Yeah.
I really see that if they started the porting process a while ago. Like, unless they built this from the ground up knowing they'd port it, they're going to have to bring in one hell of a porting team.
I mean, speculating, just speculating, the fact that it only had a 3-month timed exclusivity, I could see it being in planning. Just speculation. I could see it being
it makes
in
sense. That's a
planning.
very short exclusivity period. So.
I'm sure it is. After the success of Remake in the form of whatever the DLC was called, it's eluding me right now. But when they launched Remake on PC, it sold like gangbusters, right? Once it came to Steam. While they had an Epic Store exclusive for the first year, once it came to Steam, it sold really well. And, you know, they're not doing Epic Game Store exclusives anymore. They've said that, like, they have no plans on future exclusivity at all. In particular, announcing that things were coming to Steam. We got that announcement with Kingdom Hearts. So they are selecting the proper platform. Epic Games, they might give you some money in the short term, but now that you know that your games are selling successfully on PC, probably just a good idea to get them on the biggest platform. The one that everybody kind of agrees is the best one. So I have no doubt that the port will be maybe even sooner than we think. Obviously not before the exclusivity deal is over, but being that it's relatively painless to port from PS5 to PC and Xbox Series to PC because they're using x86 processes, I could see it coming pretty quickly. And being that, companies, when they announce something to the public, it's been planned for some time usually. I wouldn't doubt that their aggressive multi-platform strategy probably started with, hey, we need to get, while we're still in development with Rebirth, while we're still in development with 16, we need to get this porting process off the ground. Final Fantasy 16 is a little bit different. They did announce right off the bat that even though it was shorter exclusivity than their previous games, that they'd be putting it on PC eventually. They wanted there to be a full DLC package because there was already planned DLC for Final Fantasy 16 at the time. So it does seem like that one's going to be a little while before it makes it to the PC, but I could see Rebirth happening this year.
Could be.
Yeah. Again,
fingers crossed.
All conjecture, guessing, rumors, leaks, etc. But that's the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Nick, you got some stuff to talk about.
I do. A couple things. I guess we'll talk about the interesting one first. We all know Twitch. We all know Twitch chat. The idea of chat plays X, chat plays Pokemon. Frostpunk 2 coming out, second in line. If you're not familiar, Frostpunk 1 was a game where you have to survive a essentially climate disaster, frozen winter scenario, and build a diesel punk city in the middle of an ice age. The second game coming out, the city is now built, and it is much more focused around trying to maintain and run the city and handle all the factions and politics and intrigue therein. The developer has recently said that they have put a large amount of emphasis and effort into making one of these faction positions, one of the council member seats, Twitch chat itself. The idea of heavily integrating the game for the ability for chat to have a heavy influence on the politics and skullduggery of the backroom dealings in this game. And I just love the concept. It's a brilliant idea to do with something like Frostpunk, which is a management city builder strategy game in the shallow veins of a 4X title. These are not games that are traditionally popular with the modern audience. I think most strategy 4X games account for like 5 to 7% of all games played and released. What a brilliant idea. The idea of chat being able to be a collective in literally a collective when it comes to voting, you know, a little bit on the nose, but in a good way. It just excited me. Frostpunk 2 is not too far off around the corner, and I will most definitely be attempting to pick it up and play it as soon as it is available sometime this year.
No, that sounds really interesting, and honestly, I feel like it fits really well into the zeitgeist of modern gaming, or what modern gaming is, because half of gaming now these days, especially for younger folk, is watching someone do it and reacting to that and trying to participate in like the function, you know, with talking to them, as you know, and so that's brilliant. That's thinking in the year 3000 right there.
I'm really surprised because this is something that I think about kind of regularly, is why aren't studios doing more Twitch integration? I mean, the API to allow that is already out there. There are some games that do it, right? But like with Twitch and live streaming, as it were, being as big of a deal as it is, get that in your games. The thinking is so behind the curve. Like everybody right now is still trying to get out these Twitch centric, esports titles out, right?
Yeah, they're very narrow-minded in what kind of games they're integrating into Twitch. So it's first-person shooters or junkie party games, you know.
Yeah.
And why not? Yeah, why not branch out into every other genre of game there is?
The integration is so light. Like, you know, Twitch chat can have massive influences on games. Think of all the games where you're supposed to feel like you have a sense of agency. Open your API so you can integrate that with Twitch chat. Like Twitch chat should be making streamers choices in games. They should be dictating actions in games. Twitch integration is such a brilliant idea because it not only does it bring people to your game, it gets it on so many more eyeballs that maybe wouldn't. Because I would pursue that. I would look up channels that are actively streaming a game that I can interact with. That's so meta.
Requires so little commitment too on your part, right? You still get just watch interact, but you might get to click and actually influence something, you know?
Totally.
So
I don't know. I don't quite understand why this is just now kind of becoming a thing when it's been a possibility for so long. How have these studios not looked at Twitch Plays Pokemon and thought, we need in on this?
I imagine they were just overly concerned with the volatility of Twitch, especially with its competitor having just come out. And like, again, money people don't want to take risks. They want to do the thing that is the least risky. And the idea of doing something so avant-garde as having part of your game tied into an unknown factor just screams risk, you know?
I suppose
that's the only thing I can really think of.
I mean, if you're a top level executive that doesn't know how games work, like, you know, because I can assume most of the executives probably don't play a lot of video games.
They don't play any of them.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't give a shit.
Yeah, the ones that do are really celebrated, right? So, like, I think it's the president of Larian on Twitter. That guy's always talking about video games, and not even just his, right?
Yeah, he's a rare bird.
Yeah, and those people are like,
their work shows.
It does, and those kinds of voices are thoroughly enjoyed by their audience. So, like, I can understand from an executive's point of view why you wouldn't delve into that, but dude, from studios, like, especially independent studios, why aren't you getting in on this?
Yeah.
There's this hugely untapped market, man. Like, make the game good enough that it can stand on its own, that it doesn't require Twitch chat, right? Because you want as many sales as possible, but get Twitch chat integration so people that are streaming this can get their audience members in and engaged with your game.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like it just sells more copies.
Agreed. More of that. More asynchronous play, more interconnectivity. That is the way forward for sure.
Yeah.
Josh, you got a show you're excited about.
Well, I do have a show that I'm excited about, but more on that later. I want to talk first about my excursion for reals into Azeroth. Yes, Zug Zug. Now, I made a blood elf, actually, so no Zug Zugging, just
no, we still Zug.
Blood elf still Zug?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Zug.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of you say it more with the hands, like, you know, like an Italian.
Just so you know, for the Horde, Orcish is the standard language. Like, it's not common. It's Orcish.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody Zugs.
Everybody speaks Orcish on the Horde.
Okay.
That's right.
That's right. It's good to know.
Everybody's
Good
second
to know.
language.
It was fun and interesting because I have had a WoW experience, but it's kind of like a black market WoW experience that your uncle takes you to, and you're definitely not allowed to tell your mom about.
Yeah.
You know, like it was that kind of WoW. But this one it's modern and it's fast going. I already have a lot of fucking gold. It feels like a lot, but I now know it's not.
Yeah.
I hit level 10 playing, you know, all on my own. No goading from Andy, because normally he's been, you know, getting me to play WoW was like pulling teeth. It took a while and
It did.
But this dude, the day after he installs it, I see him playing by himself.
That's right. That's right. I was playing all by myself, and I made it through the new starting island thing that they have for new players, and it was actually super helpful getting me back into the groove of moving properly, using my buttons, and it's been a lot of fun. I actually made a second character already, so I have a mage and a rogue right now, and it's good fun. I think I'm actually going to subscribe, and I'm not going to go hard in the paint like by buying like the $40 and $60 game, but I think I am going to subscribe because I definitely want to go higher than level 20. I'm just like, they do a really good tease. They do a really good job of teasing you where you're like, this is fun. And like, I'm just starting to get to where I feel powerful. Again, I'm level 18. So I just feel like I can drop spells and I have my own bird to ride. I don't know what I'm going to call her yet, but
being level 18 in WoW is like going to Taco Bell and they let you smell the churros.
Yeah, you know, that's
the curly twists, whatever they're
I'm smelling the churros, baby.
Yeah.
Definitely smelling some churros. So just a little bit of translation. Josh jumped in at level 1 with a trial account.
I did.
And trial account allows you to go up to level 20. He's almost hit the cap. Josh jumped into Exile's Reach.
That's what it's called, Exile's Reach.
That's where you start as a trial account. You don't have any option with the trial account, as far as I know. But Exile's Reach gives you kind of a hand-holdy experience and walks you through the basic mechanics of World of Warcraft. Shows you how to use a lot of your menus, how your spellbook works, how to bind keys, and some of the more nebulous things that are tucked away in menus in World of Warcraft, especially a game that's 20 years old this year.
Yes. Without the little clippy essentially being like, hey, over here, it would have been even having the brief introduction that I did have. It would made things a lot easier. It's a super helpful UI, whereas the one we played was a less helpful UI.
It
was a less helpful UI.
So we played Wrath of the Lich King private server previously, and that has been Josh's WoW experience up until now. And while I love the 2008, 2009 WoW experience, yeah, sure, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely old WoW.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grinding. It's less so than your vanilla version, but there's still a lot of grind. Getting to level 80 is like a 100-hour endeavor minimum, especially when you're starting fresh. It takes a while to get there before you can experience the end game content. Whereas the way WoW is now, we did a near end game dungeon.
Yeah.
The first dungeon that you did is called, oh my god, I forget what it's called. Something Manor. Forgive me, it's from Battle for Azeroth. But you played a Battle for Azeroth dungeon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was the first dungeon that we got into. Waycrest Manor.
Oh, I was going to say Mind Your.
Waycrest Manor.
Yes, lady Waycrest.
Not Mind Your Manor.
not Mind Your Manor. Waycrest. And yeah, that was the first dungeon he did, which, is 8 expansions into the game. Because, those dungeons open up to you. You have a massive, almost all the dungeons are available to you from level 10 all the way until level cap,
and
right?
none of us were the same level, but we just seamlessly rolled into that thing, and it was awesome.
They have something called Party Sync, where you will sync to the party leader's quests, and it's synchronous leveling. So you are treated like you get the health pool and the mana pool and the resource pool of the appropriate level of whoever set the party sync on. Same thing works for PvP. PvP scales. So even though they have it separated by level ranges, appropriately 10 to 20, 20 to 30, etc. It scales you to the highest level in that level bracket, as far as your resources and all of your energy and health go. So it's way more beginner friendly than previous iterations of World of Warcraft, and they had to go that way, right? World of Warcraft's been around for 20 years. You have to make it easier for people to jump into that game, otherwise it would be absolutely dead.
Otherwise, no new people.
No new players are coming in.
I also did a Battlegrounds. Now I got mollywalloped by most everybody, but I did get a kill in my very first Battlegrounds. I got a final blow, and that felt pretty cool when I got to nerf somebody. But yeah, no, I died a lot, like a lot.
Yeah. Well,
but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was very exciting, and it is a very different WoW beast than just rolling through PvE.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering that in your first couple hours of play, you got your first mount.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case in the version we played.
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
Yeah, we had been playing for quite literally about a day's worth of playtime, 20 plus hours.
20 hours before that first mount came into play.
Right. So yeah, no, it's. I think it's a pretty good experience. I'm glad that you're having fun. I really look forward to us playing some more. We have a third person that joins us, who's going to be filling in the other role of the Holy Trinity for us. I heal. Josh DPSs, and we have a friend that tanks for us or fills in the gap that we need. So we have a pretty sweet setup going forward, and nobody ever had in previous iterations of WoW, everybody had to don't play today, dude, because you're gonna level outside of my range, and then we can't queue dungeons together, right? Whereas with the modern version of WoW, it doesn't matter what. I could jump onto one of my max level characters and play with you.
We can just roll, and we just
roll some dungeons or whatever, man. So a lot of cool features have come out, in later iterations of WoW that allow us to do that and bring somebody new into the fold and not have to explain every little thing. It's a lot more seamless than it used to be. So yeah, that's exciting. I'm glad you're having fun.
Yeah, definitely having fun. Looking forward to playing more.
Yeah, and you've reserved some pretty good names.
I have. I've managed to get a couple of good ones. Vesuviana for a fire mage. Come on. And then my troll rogue is named Laceretta. Like, what? Come on.
Perfect.
I can't believe that wasn't taken.
Yeah.
Bam.
Really good. And then I think we've got a little bit of time if we want to talk about the show that you've been watching. We did tease it a little while ago.
We did tease it. So the day before my birthday, Star Wars, Lucasfilms, Disney, they've planned this for me as a special treat. They're releasing The Acolyte. Now, The Acolyte is a little bit different of a beast than the rest of the Star Wars shows we've gotten, because it is taking place 100 years before the start of the Skywalker saga.
Yay!
And now, so the showrunner for this, Leslie Headland, has a very good show already under her belt, Russian Dolls, which I enjoyed the crap out of Russian Dolls. I thought that was very good. And she is a huge Star Wars fan. So she knows her stuff. She's got the cred to back up doing an interesting show. And she pitched this show as Frozen meets Kill Bill. Now, how are you not just intrigued, even a little bit?
Do you want to kill a gang lord?
Right.
We'll shoot him in the face.
We know not a lot about the plot lines, just the basic that as it starts off, Jedi are being murdered, and a master suspects a former Padawan. A former Padawan of his is the culprit and is going off and investigating that. So we're going to be dropped into what I feel like is a more adulty Star Wars, a little more advanced, mature Star Wars. Because, I mean, a murder mystery, I mean, it's not, I guess that's not exactly not a kid's thing, but it's not, it doesn't feel.
This is the plus in Disney Plus.
Yeah, this is, I'm hoping, exactly. Right? I'm hoping that this is plus in Disney here. Plus. Now, because The Acolyte has had a long run. It was announced, I believe, in 2019. So it had to survive a pandemic, a couple of Hollywood strikes. And it's finally made it through. And there's, it's already faced a little bit of criticism because it turned out a writer or two was not a Star Wars fan. But I honestly kind of support the idea of not having someone who's a fan of the show be like, you have to make them watch the movies, obviously, before they, start writing. Yeah. But to keep things grounded, to keep things not just a fan service hand job that 8 people wind up liking. Someone would be like, well, hang on, that doesn't make sense. To have someone who's not going to just be overwhelmed and overawed by the flat, like how many Boba Fett cameos can we get in here? Yeah. I honestly like that idea. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'm wrong and it's going to be booty. But I am as always ever hopeful for a quality Star Wars product. So the acting looks pretty good. I can't remember the actor from Squid Game, but
Squidward.
No, but he's the Jedi Master Saul. Carrie Moss from the Trinity from The Matrix. She is also going to be in the movie or in the show. So
Carrie Ann Moss.
Carrie Ann Moss. I had it mostly right. So it is. It looks like it's a good cast. It's going to be cool, interesting lightsaber fighting techniques that we probably haven't seen before. I love the High Republic, so I think it's going to be great. I'm very excited.
Very cool. Yeah, we've seen what happens. Excuse me. When you have not Star Wars fans make Star Wars content in both a good and bad way. Good ways and/or bad ways, the Star Wars sequels. Yeah. So we have a access, and hopefully we'll fall on one end of that.
I think it's okay to have non-Star Wars fans that don't know all of the lore and stuff, but you have like
you can't give them carte blanche.
No, and they should be the minority, right?
Yeah.
You should have a majority that knows what they're doing. Where I think it's healthy to have a voice from the outside.
Absolutely.
To keep like you said, to keep you grounded. I think that's totally okay. I think that's a healthy writing team, but I think the majority of it needs to understand at least the heart of the universe, right?
Hire whoever you want on your executive team, but just have Sam Witwer on standby. That guy knows Star Wars more than probably just about anyone on this planet.
Well, I would say other than the guy, oh my god, I'm brain farting on his name. The guy who made Clone Wars, Dave Filoni. Other than Dave, because Dave Filoni learned it right from Lucas, and Sam Witwer learned it right from Filoni. So like in terms of Star Wars, Sam Witwer is the grandchild of George Lucas. Yeah. So just it's like his grandson.
True. Yeah. Well, guys, unless you have any more, I think that's just about it this week.
Yeah,
we can rank it up there.
Yeah, it was a short one. I know we usually go a little bit longer, but we had a really exciting pre-show
party.
Yeah, so we ended up having a pretty late start. So we're gonna call it there.
Hey, spill the beans. You're pregnant.
Yeah, I'm pregnant.